Thank you, councillors. Can you settle down, please? Thank you. Councillor Mkhase, you asked for the break. I think we are all in the house now. Thank you.
Thanks, Speaker. Council can continue with its agenda for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, I was still busy with my brief. I hope that you've all received the circular from the IC, Integrity Commissioner, in connection with the declarations of financial interests. Please make sure that we all keep to the deadline for that. And then I've also received disturbing news around Councillor Likhetlo, that he's ill and obviously been hospitalized this morning. Let's just keep him in our memories and in our prayers. Secretary.
Applications for leave of absence.
Councillors, I've received none except the knowledge of Councillor Likhetlo being and Councillor Depe. I think Depe, Councillor Depe is one of them.
Speaker, can Council also note Councillor Nefotoni's apology due to ill health as well? Thank you.
We will do that. Thank you very much. Any other apologies? Councillor Mkhase, on the wrong mic anyway, but you can talk. Thank you.
Thanks, Speaker. Comrades, Sichaba Kumalo will join us later, Speaker.
Okay. Thank you. Any other apologies? I don't see hands. None. Thank you. Can we approve the leaves of absences as announced? Is it agreed to? Thank you.
Official notices. Statements by the Executive Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, any statement? No.
Confirmation of minutes. Special meeting held on 25th April 2019. Ordinary meeting held on 25th April 2019. Special meeting held on 30th April and 3rd May 2019. Ordinary meeting held on 22nd and 24th May 2019. Ordinary meeting held on 13 June 2019.
Councillors, is there... Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Speaker. Are we going to call the minutes out per set, or are we just going to do general corrections?
I think what you should do is to go through the ones that you've seen mistakes, all of them.
Thank you, Chair. On the 3rd of May, the minutes indicate that Councillor Tolo was absent, was given a leave of absence and was in council, if it can be noted as being in council. On page 14, middle paragraph, it should read that this meeting to dignify what the Speaker did during SOCA. And on the following page, third paragraph, it should read to leave the EFF, not live the EFF. Then to move on to the minutes of the 13th of June. Unfortunately, our quality seems to have slipped. It should read on page 17, a special welcome was extended. If we move on to page 23, it said the following, following the discussion on item 1E, the majority of members rejected the item. It doesn't note the dissenting and the abstaining political parties. It says, and if you read the transcript, it says the EFF rejected, the ANC and the ARC. So if that can be noted in the minutes. On page 33, on item 30, resolved under that the City of Johannesburg Council resolved should have a small letter. If we move on to page 30, point 8, I think that the city should have a capital letter. Page 37, under point 18, there should be a full stop after retained. Then suitable should have a small s, and then the middle, well, the sentence towards the end says, no trees on sidewalks to be removed without the permission from city parks should be added, dash street full stop trees, so that full stop should be removed, and then permission is said again. So that sentence doesn't quite make sense. Then if we move on to page 41, it should read deep-rooted trees as ROOTED. If we move on to page 18, point 6, it should read the Department of Community Development without an S. And then on page 64, under point 1 of resolved, it should read third quarter performance with a capital Q. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Whistler.
Thank you, Speaker. No corrections from my side. Councillor Roberts has already done them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Speaker. On the minutes of the 13th, you need to remove the name of Councillor Baloyi on the roll call. Thank you.
Councillors, the Secretary has read all the minutes out. You've heard the changes from Councillor Roberts and from Councillor Parker. Councillor Mpahlela, is it on the minutes?
Speaker, I wonder if you don't have enough chairs at the gallery, because there are those who are standing here. I don't know what's wrong with them. Please.
The gallery.
Okay. Councillors, can we please take our seats and make sure that we are seated? If it's a councillor, but on the gallery, please take the spare seats on top there, on my right. Thank you. And at the door on top there, is there no chairs? There is chairs in front here. There's one here that I can see. Come up here. Okay. Thank you. Councillors, as I said, the minutes of the 25th of April of the special council meeting, the ordinary meeting, and then the special meeting on the 30th and the 3rd of May, including the minutes of the 22nd and the 24th of May, and ordinary meeting on the 13th of June. Is that therefore approved? Is it agreed to? Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Sitole.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, there's a huge difference between sitting down and leaning against the wall. Van Tonder has actually sat down. Kukemur is still standing there. Please ask Kukemur to actually get a seat for himself. We can't afford to actually run a council whilst the Kukemurs of this world are standing up there and observing what is actually happening here. Thank you.
Councillor, I can't see what you're seeing, but can I please just ask everybody on the gallery, please, to sit down. Get a seat and sit down. Thanks.
Questions for oral reply, of which notice has been given in terms of Rule 105.1 of the Standing Rules and Orders of Council.
Councillor Mabona.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to all councillors and the residents of Johannesburg. My question is to the MMC of Community Development. On the 31st of October 2018, Council took a resolution of renaming Soweto Theatre after the legend and father of theatre, Gibson Kente. Our question is how far the process of renaming Soweto Theatre is, and when can the process be implemented? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. MMC Sifumba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and greetings to all the councillors and the members of the public, as well as the media. Speaker, in the city of Johannesburg, the protocol for naming of the city-owned theatres has been that of naming the theatres with which they are associated or in which they are located. Consequently, Speaker, that gives the ownership to the residents, and they are able to identify with the theatre. Consequently, the three city-owned theatres are Johannesburg Theatre, for the theatre in Braamfontein, Roodepoort Theatre, for the theatre situated in Roodepoort, and lastly, the Soweto Theatre, for the theatre located in Soweto. The collective of these theatres is amply named Joburg City Theatres. Soweto Theatre is located in the historic and internationally renowned township of Soweto. The name of the township is known worldwide for the courage and the sacrifices that were made by the people who were made sometimes forcibly to reside in this township. The people of Soweto are proud of their history and their contribution to the South Africa that we have today. Equally, the people of Soweto are vested in the facilities within their areas that have been named after the township, as these are seen to recognize the courage and sacrifices they made for equality and the recognition of each race, color, and language in the South Africa we have today. The City of Johannesburg, through a motion brought by EFF on the 31st of October 2018, resolved that Soweto Theatre be renamed Gibson Kente Theatre. Gibson Mtutuzeli Kente, commonly known as Gibson Kente, was a playwright, composer, director, and producer who was born in the Eastern Cape but spent his working life in Soweto, Johannesburg. Gibson Kente is widely known in South Africa and abroad. He is widely recognized as the father of the black theatre, having made his name as one of the first writers to deal with life in South Africa, in South African black townships through theatrical plays. One tribute upon his passing credited him for single-handedly making the township musical, Speaker, which is a form of a popular theatre during apartheid. Now, Speaker, since you said 1 minute remaining, the process is a lengthy one that ensures that all the relevant stakeholders are consulted and have a say with regards to the renaming processes. Additionally, Johannesburg City Theatres has had to look at its financial resources to ensure that the renaming will not only be detrimental to the financial sustainability of the theatres. The process also involves examining the value that is attached to the current name and whether the renaming will affect it, and secondly, whether the theatre has the requisite funding associated with renaming. Therefore, Speaker, JCT has embarked on several projects, especially in Soweto over the last year, which were part of ensuring that services are delivered to the people of Soweto and that the theatre stands as the beacon of the people of Soweto. It is anticipated that the public participation process will resume in the beginning of the second quarter of the current financial year. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Is there a follow-up, Councillor Mabona?
Yeah, no, thanks very much, Speaker. At least you've managed to save us from the poem, because the question was quite simple, when? And finally, the MMC managed to say on the second quarter. We're still going to ensure that it does happen and within the current period as she has indicated. Thank you.
Do you need to respond, MMC Sifumba? No. Okay, thank you. Councillor Sitole?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, Council approve a motion wherein, and particularly South Africans for that matter, and Africans in particular, are in dire straits. Dire straits for the report. And the question that I beg to ask regarding the comment that I've actually made right now, it's around the MMC having to indicate as to exactly when is Council actually going to be given the land report as requested and passed by the motion.
Councillor Masango, MMC? Okay. MMC not.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. The land audit report was debated at the Economic Growth Sub-Mayoral Committee meeting on the 5th of August. It was withdrawn for JPC to incorporate further comments from the committee and is scheduled to be tabled at the next Mayoral Committee meeting, which will then follow through to the September Council sitting. I think it's important to note that a full land audit is conducted by JPC alongside the Auditor General every 5 years, which costs around the mark of 2 million rand to complete. It would be impractical and costly to conduct such an audit twice a year. However, we are waiting for feedback from the city manager and legal in terms of that. Currently, there is a standing agenda item for city-owned properties at the Section 79 Economic Development Committee. And in 2018, JPC conducted regional roadshows where lists of all city-owned properties in each region were distributed to councillors. We will continue to provide this information on an ongoing basis so that all councillors are fully apprised of all city-owned properties in every ward in the city. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Tlanja, have you got a follow-up? Oh, Sitole, sorry.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, one is actually concerned and worried as to how this matter is actually being handled, particularly by Councillor Katikura, and at the very same time, the response that actually getting from her. Speaker, we honestly need to respect and acknowledge resolution taken by this House.
Councillor, who are you referring to?
I was just saying a particular councillor, not Councillor Katikura. A particular councillor. That is Councillor not.
Please continue. Just ask the question, please.
Thank you. Yeah. Speaker, it can't be correct wherein today we are being told that the land audit report will be submitted to council in the second quarter. Comes the second quarter, we are now getting a totally different story. A story.
Councillor, will you take your seat?
Speaker.
No, I have not given you a chance yet, Councillor. Please. Yeah. Okay, the councillor sit down. Please, now you can raise your point of order.
Speaker, August, Women's Month, and we're just letting it go. Councillor Knott is not particular, and I'm standing up as a woman activist to say to you, protect us as women. You can't allow us to be called names in a chamber. Be in order, Speaker, protect us. Give Women's Month. Including Councillor Knott. Speak.
Councillors, can we please note not to call people names? Let's please stick to, and here I'm specifically talking about Councillor Sithole. You've done it twice today. The first one I overlooked, but please, will you withdraw at this point? Councillor Sithole? Please. Please.
Thank you, Speaker. Just to be short and precise, like I said, this council needs to be obviously afforded the opportunity wherein the land audit report must be presented in this house.
Councillor Sithole, please withdraw.
Withdraw what, Speaker?
What you said about Councillor Knott.
No, Speaker, I said particular. I think perhaps maybe some councillors are having a problem with my pronunciation here.
No.
I said particular.
Councillor Sithole.
Okay, please. I withdraw.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. You done, Councillor Knott? Would you respond?
Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Councillor Mfikwe, please. No, please. Councillor Knott?
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. I think I've already detailed that the audit report will appear in September, which is still within the first quarter of the financial year. In addition, the original motion asked for a biannual report on the land audit, and I think we're complying in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Danja.
Thank you, Speaker. Good afternoon to the community and the councillors. Speaker, you will note that I've got two questions. And I don't know which one should I hammer first or second, because I've got two different questions from two different MMCs. So can you clarify on that first?
Councillor, do economic development first.
Thank you, Speaker, and you'll give me housing after. Thank you very much. Speaker, in February 2019, this House passed an EFF-sponsored motion which recommended the reviewing of the informal trading bylaw. To date, there has not been any progress reported in this regards in this House. MMC Leonard, can you tell this House when is the review of the informal trading bylaw as approved by this House going to be implemented? I thank you.
MMC Knott.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Following the Constitutional Court ruling in April 2014 against the City of Johannesburg for the actions of Operation Clean Sweep under the former Mayor Parks Tau, Council resolved to amend the informal trading policy and bylaw to bring them in line with the spirit of the Constitution. This administration's aim is to ensure that the policy and the bylaw are a cohesive and progressive set of documents which not only encourage and support informal trading across the city, but ensure security, peace of mind and prosperity for all informal traders. In October 2017, we undertook stakeholder engagements with all informal trader associations with the view of signing an MOU for further cooperation. From January to June 2018, we undertook a headcount and scoping study of all traders and their activities in the inner city in order to develop an informal trading areas management plan. In June 2018, a report was produced to inform Council of the status of informal trading in the inner city and of the proposed recommendations and interventions by the city. Following the noting of this report, the terms of reference for a service provider to finalise the draft informal trading policy through complex stakeholder engagement was approved on the 10th of December 2018 and advertised on the 14th of December 2018. The tender closed at the end of January and the service provider was appointed in June 2019 following adjudication processes. Consultation with key stakeholders, including all 12 informal trade associations, civil society, and academics, is currently underway. This includes organizations such as Syria and Salga. This is to ensure that the draft policy, which is scheduled to be brought to Council in September 2019, enjoys widespread support from all stakeholders so that the mistakes of the past administration are not repeated. We aim to bring the amendments to the informal trading bylaw to Council alongside the informal trading policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Follow-up, Councillor Dandra.
Thank you, Speaker. You will notice the agency of the review of the informal trading bylaw by looking at the squalor that we are seeing in the city of Johannesburg with the informal traders that are there. However, the learned MMC is not giving me the date as to when this informal trading bylaw is going to be implemented. In my question, I made it clear that when. I need the date and the time so that when I go back to the community and these informal traders, I can tell them exactly when. So that's all I need from the MMC. Thank you.
MMC.
Councillor John. Thank you. As I stated, the informal trade policy will come to Council in September 2019 for public participation. It will then follow that time frame, which I think is around 60 days. We will then bring it back after public participation. It will be implemented. As to the time, I'm not quite sure. It will depend on how Council runs on the day. Thank you.
Thank you, MMC. Councillor Dlanja, while you were on your feet, please raise your second question to the MMC of Housing.
Thank you very much, Speaker. My second question is directed to the MMC Van Wyk. MMC Van Wyk, Tietjemak. MMC Van Wyk, there is a contract that was entered into between the city of Johannesburg municipality and the Red Ants that is evicting our people ruthlessly in the city of Johannesburg. In April 2019, can the MMC outline to this House what was the primary purpose of the contract entered into between the city of Johannesburg and these evil Red Ants? I thank you.
MMC. There's a point of, is it a point of order? Leader of Executive Business.
No, it's not a point of order, Speaker, just to help you and Councillor Dlanjo. This question was directed to MMC Van Wyk, but it's actually for MMC San, so MMC San will respond on this question.
Thank you, MMC San.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Councillor Dandra, for your question. Councillor Dandra, the capacity in terms of land invasions and removals by the Johannesburg Metro Police Department is very limited. Therefore, we are required to source external service providers, but limited only to those land invasion removals where there are bricks and mortars involved. So that capacity in terms of the outside service providers, in this case the Red Ants, is to provide that additional resources for the JMPD.
MMC. Councillor Tladi, what is your point of order?
The MMC must withdraw the land invasion. This is our land. We are taking back our land.
Councillor Tladi, that's not a point of order, please. MMC San, please continue. You are done. Councillor Dlanja, is there a follow-up?
Thank you, Speaker. I just want the MMC to give us confidence by telling us how much money has the city spent since this administration on Red Ants to evict our people. How much is it? In monetary terms?
That's a technical question, Councillor. You should bring it on as a written question. As a written question. No, I've got to direct the House. You know that once it involves figures, you've got to write a question to the MMC.
It's a follow-up, Speaker. It's a follow-up question related to the Red Ants. So I don't think there is any difference. Not you. Can the MMC answer the question, please, Speaker?
Order,
not you.
Speaker.
The MMC have an answer.
Order, Speaker.
Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Speaker.
The point of order I'm raising, one is that you don't observe this site. It takes you time. Two, as Councillor Lanjwa is still addressing the chamber, I want to understand who is on item 5.A on the last, who is MMC as Lanjwa? How can an MMC ask another MMC a question? Thank you.
Yeah. I'll ask the Secretariat to fix that, Councillor. MMC?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if I could make a proposal, unfortunately, Councillor Dlanja, I don't have the technical information with me. It's very operational. So please allow me to get that information. I will certainly respond by the next available opportunity in Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lidwaba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My question is directed to MC of Finance. The executive has to exercise his power of the office by implementing Section 26, Section 28, and Section 29 of Municipal Property Rates Act, number 6 of 2004. There is a worrying factor whereby the tenants pay their services to the registered owner of the property or his agent, and substantial areas ran up on their account. Who is the registered owner of ERF 5004? And is the property indebted to City of Johannesburg?
Ngobeni.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, Councillor Dwawa. The property at number 22 Paul Nell Street in Johannesburg, R5004, is a sectional title with 147 units. The building is owned by the City of Johannesburg municipality, and the property value of the sectional title unit is less than a threshold of 350,000. Therefore, no billing for rates is happening. All properties owned by the city, as you know, don't pay for rates. The tenants, body of Novena Court, owes the City of Johannesburg for water services a total amount of 638,000 as per their August 2019 statement. Tenants are paying for rental, including water, to JPC, and the excess debt on the property was sitting at 1.2 million, and now they owe 638,000 rand, as I said earlier on. Thank you very much.
Councillor Lidwaba, you've got a follow-up?
Indeed. With my records before me, a registered owner of this property is City of Johannesburg, but is being managed by a consortium who are related to a certain political party. It cannot be true, MMC, because these people of consortium, of Novena Consortium, they never paid the services from 2012 to date. They only paid on the 9th of July, paying 850. It cannot be correct that they're indebted by 1 million. They are indebted from water services of 5 million. It cannot be correct. And you dispossessed our people in 2004. They had 30 deeds in their disposal. Mayor Rabudibe, are you there? Ntate Rabudibe, are you there? Ntate Khabe, are you there? It cannot be correct. So my question, my follow-up question is, if can the executive furnish the council with a detailed recovery plan which is in place to recoup plus minus 5 million of water service? It cannot be 1 million, I must tell you. It cannot be. And the electricity which is not being built. When you're telling me about the market value of that property is 16 million, you have dispossessed our people.
Thank you, Councillor.
They're sitting with their title deeds.
Speaker, Councillor Ledwaba is right. There's a lot of things that are not right here. On the 8th of July, the Executive Mayor and Buya Mteto visited Novena Court on the Buya Mteto campaign and as you know, the investigation that we are carrying out. And a lot of anomalies have been identified, and as a result, we have requested General Sibia and the GFS team to institute a forensic investigation, not only internally with regards to the services, but also with regards to the ownership of this sectional title deeds that Councillor Ledwaba is talking about. So we are fully aware of the anomalies. We are investigating it, and we will definitely bring a report that will be able to identify who in particular, which councillors, which former councillors, which political party it's actually been benefiting from this scheme in the inner city. So we are investigating it and we'll bring a report definitely to council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MMC. Councillor Ledwaba, your question to MMC van Wyk.
Thank you, Speaker. Constitution of Republic of South Africa, 108 of 1996, says the rights of all citizens must be respected, protected, promoted, and recognized. The following community suffers in silence for far too long. A 75-year-old Mandla Makwakwa, ID 4285. Ntate Makwakwa from Soweto, morning. Stand up, thank you. A 75-year-old Miriam Machele Tshwane, ID 44087 from inner city. She was constructively evicted by a heartless managing agent and slept on an office chair for 75 days. Medi Tshwane, where are you? Morning, Mama Wami, Mewaka Ukokaya Kuboni. Ukokaya, Mama, wait for. Tumedisa. Thank you. We love you, Mama. Women's Month. 71-year-old Anna Marie Makanya, ID 48086 from Brixton. Purely City of Johannesburg lacks awareness to protect its community. Question 1. When is the executive going to restore dignity of the community in question? And what plans are currently underway to allocate Gogo Tshwane, Gogo Makanya, Mukulu Makwakwa?
Thank you, Councillor. MMC van Wyk.
Matongo. Councillor Matongo. Thank you very much, Speaker. With reference to the two matters referred to in question for oral reply, the City of Johannesburg has to furnish the occupiers' personal and financial circumstances in order to make a determination regarding the provision of temporary emergency accommodation. It is advisable that the evictees should approach the City of Johannesburg Department so that they can be registered to be assisted. If the city is provided with the requisite information and documentation, an assessment is undertaken based on the following: the occupier's bar-coded South African ID document, a declaration of the ID or birth certificate, proof of occupier's income, proof of address where the occupiers work, contact details of the next of kin, an address and telephone number where the city will inform the occupiers of the outcome of the application, all information and documentation providing or proving that the occupiers are legally residents in the Republic, full details of any social benefit, and also full details of pension payable by SASSA.
Councillor Ledwaba, your follow-up.
I thought we are led in this municipality. We seem not to be led. It's quite ridiculous for an MMC to give a such answer. Can I tell you why? Medi Tshwane was allocated because of this question. But I'm asking, when are you going to allocate Mr. Makwakwa? He's here. He's our senior citizen. When are you going to allocate? Mayor Anna Marie, those are our elders, our senior citizens. We have to take care of them. Accommodation is dignity. We have to respect them at all. Being protected by this.
MMC.
Speaker, I think I've responded to say that the City of Johannesburg Department of Housing need to be contacted. I would not know if somebody need to be allocated, yes or no, unless they come to the Department of Housing and we deal with that. And I would suggest that it happens.
Thank you.
He knows nothing, it's fine.
That deals with the questions to the MMCs.
Speaker.
Councillor Mabona.
Councillor Mabona.
Yeah, thank you very much, Speaker. I can see that today we are free-flowing since there's no motion of no confidence against Tshwane. I asked two questions there and you skipped my second question. You just want us to get there because you are not anywhere affected. If you may allow me, Speaker, can I ask my second question, please?
Please speak. Obviously, I've been fed the wrong information here, and I don't have the list in front of me. Please ask your question.
And we have always told you, you are looking on the wrong side. That's where the wrong information comes from.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't come from the secretary. It comes from other officials. Councillor Novella, so you can't assume that the person next to me is giving me information. Please raise it.
Thank you very much, Speaker. My question is to the MMC of Community Development. There's a council ruling, a council resolution that we took on the 26th and 27th of September 2018 of renaming Orlando Stadium after the struggle icon Omama Winnie Madikizela Mandela. The question is, how far is the process of renaming Orlando Stadium? And also, when can the process be implemented? Thank you, Speaker.
MMC's Fumba.
Thank you, Speaker. It is anticipated that the public participation process will resume in the beginning of the second quarter of the current financial year. Thanks.
Any follow-up? No. Thank you.
Questions for written reply, of which notice has been given in terms of Rule 105(2) of the Standing Rules and Orders of Council.
Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to table the questions for written reply on which notice has been given in terms of Rule 105(2) of the Standing Rules and Orders of this Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Executive Mayor's question time, of which notice has been given in terms of Rule 112 of the Standing Rules and Orders of Council.
Councillor Matongo.
Thank you very much, Speaker. The 2016 Local Government Manifesto of the Democratic Alliance is anchored around 6 key areas, and one of these areas is about opportunity. And in that manifesto, the DA says, and I quote, "We will create a supportive environment where business want to invest, grow, and hire more people." On the other hand, the EFF manifesto is clear, and I quote, it says, "The EFF will create jobs through direct service delivery." And to this end, it says, "The EFF's People's Municipality will insource all workers that perform municipal functions like security guards, cleaners, drivers, and all general workers. It is clear, Mr. Speaker, that the two manifestos provide extremely divergent solutions to the issue of job creation. Now, the question to the mayor. Don't get us wrong, we don't have any problem with insourcing. We support it. But the question is, since August 2016, which manifesto are you implementing? Are you implementing the TA manifesto or the EFF manifesto?
Mr. Mayor.
Stumpy.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mtonga. As regards the insourcing of our exploited people over the last 25 years, this insourcing is actually one of my greatest pride as a human being. When I look at how the new
Mr. Mayor,
democratic...
there's a point of order. Councillor Mtinkulu.
I just want to...
What is your point of order?
I'm coming there.
No, please start with it.
The mayor,
Tomagayon.
the mayor, is he answering the question as to whether he's implementing the DA or the EFF?
No. You haven't. He hasn't spoken yet. Please, you are out of order, Councillor Mtonga.
Preambles are wasting us time.
He hasn't answered yet. Please sit down. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Fellow councillors, the question of insourcing, it's actually one of my greatest pride as a South African. When we, as a new multi-party government, freed our people from exploitation by a new democratic South Africa. So for us, it's not about manifestos, it's about giving our people dignity. It is about freeing our people from the hyenas. It is about freeing our people who've been exploited, working for years with no benefits, not knowing when they will really be paid. So therefore, I think for us as a multi-party government, it is our biggest pride that I'm sure we'll all live with for the rest of our lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Matonga. Is there a follow-up? Thank you, councillors.
Fundani ANC.
Councillor De Jager, it is the last time that you're going to do that. I'm warning you, it's the last time. Thank you, Councillor Matonga.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You gave a very good answer to say you are implementing the manifesto of the EFF. Let me put it to you, Mr. Mayor. I put it to you that you are using insourcing.
Councillor Matonga, there's a point of order. Chair of Chairs.
Order, Speaker. Order, Speaker. Speaker.
Speaker, I rise on a point of order that the councillor is misleading this House. The Mayor clearly stated that it is not a manifesto. He is implementing what is in the best interest of
Councillor Christians, the Mayor will respond for himself. Thank you. Please continue, Councillor Matonga.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for educating that man that we are about to remove. Now, I put it to you, Mr. Mayor, that you are insourcing workers in order to secure the votes from the EFFs to stay in power. Can you disprove that? But before I sit down, I think you have done a very good job of being a mayor of the EFF. So today, you will get your regalia of the EFF. We are giving it to you. You are a very good mayor of the EFF. Thank you very much.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please. Likadula fasi tu. Likadula fasi.
Point of order. Point of order. The point of order, Speaker. On the point of call the police. He's right.
Councillor Matongo. Councillor Matongo. Councillor Matongo. Councillor Matongo. Councillors, please sit down. Thank you. Please sit down. I can see all the hands going up. I have to deal with something first before I allow anybody to talk. Councillor Matongo, will you rise, please? Councillor Matongo, I'm asking you, as you know, we don't allow any party regalia in the council chamber. I'm asking you to remove it. Please remove it. You've had no permission of bringing it in here. Please remove it. Councillor Chief Whip Mukhase. Ukaincha Molas, please. It is displayed in council. Please take it out. No, I'm done. I've made a ruling. Please take that out. No. Councillor Mukhasi, there is other people, 1 minute, there is other people that had their hands up before you.
But Speaker, you're not going to allow anyone to speak.
I've asked you to remove that regalia from that desk. Please remove it.
No! Speaker, thanks. Thanks, Speaker. You spoke about me to take out something which I don't know. This was brought by the leader of executive business.
Thank you. Councillor Matongo, will you take your regalia that you put in front there? Please.
Yes, Speaker. Let Councillor.
Yeah. Councillor Novella.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I'm sure now the executive mayor is vindicated that there are people who print regalia of different political parties and send them on programs which seeks to take the city of Johannesburg backward. This one is just a proof exactly of that. But what important...
Is the point, Speaker? On which item are we?
You can scream at the highest of your voice. It doesn't do anything to me.
On which item are you?
You can scream all you want.
The point of order.
You can sing at the highest of your voice. It will never do anything to me.
Speaker.
So save your voice, save your energy. There's other important...
Councillor Novella, will you take a seat, please? There's a point of order.
Okay. These criminals are using our regalia. These criminals.
Speaker,
how do you...
They raised the point of order. They cannot raise another point of order. So we must finish what we say.
Councillor Musitle, will you sit down, please? Okay. Councillor Novella, please raise your point of order.
Thank you very much, Speaker. We're not here to fight, but we're not scared of doing so. We can repeat it any time of the day. Why not? But Speaker, we're here to advance and advocate for the people of Johannesburg. That's why we'll ignore certain things which seeks to take us backward. But Speaker, the rules are clear that no party regalia is supposed to be worn or displayed inside the chamber. And if somebody have done exactly that, then it means then we must refer this issue to ethics to help us.
Thank you.
Speaker.
Thank you. Councillors.
Speaker.
Councillors, I'm not going to allow any further points of order.
Rules are suspended. Rules are suspended.
I've made a ruling. I'm not taking any further points of order. Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm not. I'm definitely not taking any further points of order. Can we move on?
Speaker. Speaker. Why not
Speaker. Chief Whip.
Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. I think I would agree that we move on. The Mayor needs to complete his response. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Speaker,
Mr. Mayor.
Speaker, before the Mayor. That correctly. What's your rule?
My ruling.
Yes.
That this thing be taken to ethics.
I never. Speaker! Hey, Speaker, I never. No. That was not your rule. That was not your rule.
Not going to happen. Never.
Mashaba must go to ethics first. It's not. Mashaba must go to ethics.
Councillors, can you please take your seats? Thank you.
Mashaba must go to ethics.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Mukhase. Councillors, please. We can't hear one another while you're screaming and shouting, and some people pressing the mic. Councillor Mukhase, I have not yet called you. Wabona. I have not called you. I'll give you time. Yeah, thank you. Councillors, can I please ask you to behave yourself, first of all. Councillor Mukhase, what was your question?
No. Speaker, one thing when I was listening to you correctly, the ruling was not the last one that you said. The ruling was that can Councillor Maton go and fetch the regalia that was then remove it because it's not allowed. That was your ruling. So you can't contradict yourself as the Speaker. We can go through the records and the transcript correctly. That was your ruling. So to my surprise now, and I said it to you, Speaker, as the Chief Whip of the ANC, never compromise your standing here because you are a Speaker of Council. You must rise above political party issues
and
be the one that will be respected. So what you have said as a last,
Councillor,
that was never your. So I would ask us, before you conclude, that can we get the recordings of what was your ruling? Then after, because we're not agreeing with you. Because your ruling was straight, it was just to face the regalia.
Councillor Mukhase, thank you.
What you say now is not correct.
I've heard you. Will you take your seat now? Councillors, I'm not going to allow any further debate on this issue. What I'm asking for, yes, you are correct, Councillor Mukhase. But if you remember well, Councillor Novella asked that this be referred to ethics.
No capacity.
And therefore, And therefore, I made my ruling according to his question.
Okay, Speaker. Speaker, just before we agree with you. Now, Speaker, I'm raising an issue that happened in council. We can ask for a video. When the question was asked by Councillor Matongo to the executive mayor, he raised a DA manifesto.
You are doing it again.
So the mayor must also go to ethics.
No, you are doing it again. I've not given you the time to speak. I've not given you the time to speak. Councillors, can we please continue? Thank you.
We are not going to continue. Speaker, you see how I saw you are not going to continue.
Councillor Mfikwe, please raise your order.
Speaker, which ethics committee that the mayor does not recognize must Councillor Matongo go to? The only time Councillor Matongo goes to ethics is when Executive Mayor Mr. Herman Mashaba goes as when. If I go ethics, he told you in here that he does not recognize the ethics committee. In here. So none of the ANC councillors is going to go Meniere. Nobody goes there. Up until Councillor Mashaba goes to ethics.
Councillors, please, my ruling cannot be discussed in council. And I'm going to stop it right there. Can we please continue?
Speaker, we are not going to allow this to happen today. We are totally not going to allow us the...
I've not given you time to speak, Councillor Mukhase. Please take your seat. Councillor Mukhase, please take your seat. No, please take your seat.
Can we move on now to the executive?
We're moving on. No, Chief Whip, we're moving on. Thank you.
Executive Mayor.
Executive Mayor. The response, please.
Order, Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, order. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Mayor, please continue.
Speaker, a point of...
I know.
And if they want to challenge it, they can take it to the vice president. And this section is talking about they must not engage in conduct or behavior that will disrupt consent. That's what we're going to do.
Councillors, will you please take your seats? Councillors, will you take your seats? Councillors, will you take your seats? Councillors, will you take your seats? Are you competing against your own chief whip, Councillor Zulu? Councillor Zulu? Okay, point of order. Raise your point of order.
Angibonge sihlalo. Ngizokhuluma uLkamthaniya. Sihlalo, ngicela ukuzwa iruling yakho lapha. Kushuthi umuntu ophethe la iEFF as uthi uemphasize into eshiwo yini iEFF. Uchemile ngoba nangena umuntu othe akiwe kuethics. Nawe usucizelela lokho and uchemile speaker why unovela lapha ukhuluma ngendlela afuna ukukhuluma ngayo. But makulolu hlangothi lolu uthi thina sithule phansi sihlale phansi. Point of order on you.
Councillor Zondo, ngeke ngidebate le issue. Ngeke ngidebate. Ngithathe ruling. Umuntu ucelile ukuthi ufuna kuyisa lento ethics.
Ithini ruling?
Nivume naye. Kuphela lapho. Ngeke ngidebate. Yeah.
Ithini ruling?
Councillor Mkhase, the last time that you rise on this issue.
If I remember well, Speaker, in relation to the dress code for councillors, if you remember well, that is 30A. If you remember, 30A was suspended in a sitting of council, and to date, it has never been uplifted. So that issue that you raised into...
Point of order, Speaker. That is misleading. Point of order, Speaker. That is misleading.
No, Councillor Mkhase, that's not true. And you know... Councillors, I'm not going to allow a further debate on this. Can we please go ahead? Thank you. Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Fellow councillors, we are really facing a crisis. The city of Johannesburg, if not South Africa, is facing massive counterfeit goods in this city and in South Africa.
Mr. Mayor, there's a point of order.
believe to see
Mr. Mayor, there's a point of order. Councillor Msuka, raise your point of order.
I thought, Mr. Speaker, you were going to listen to councillors.
No, please don't address me.
The executive mayor was
on this
holding
issue.
a DA manifesto with an emblem in the chamber.
When?
But you are not saying anything about
When?
it. Oh!
I've not seen it.
Well, we are telling you.
I've not seen it.
We must go to ethics as well. We are telling you. You are biased, Mr. Speaker. The executive mayor was holding it, waving it in the chamber. You saw him. He must be referred to ethics. Please respond while he is on the podium before he sits down.
I've not seen it.
I'm telling you, he was holding it.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Take it to ethics because this is recorded. The meeting is on
Thank you. Will you
record.
take your seat?
No, Mr. Speaker, you must rule.
Thank you. Councillor at the back there, will you take your seat, please? Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, will you rise? Is it true?
Fellow South Africans, the country is facing counterfeit goods problem.
Shut up! Shut up!
What is the question?
Mr. Mayor, the question was raised, said that you
Is it true?
waved a GA emblem.
Yes. No, I don't know. Yes, that's true.
Point of order, Speaker. On a point of order, Speaker. Point of order.
So it's not the mayor.
Point of order, Speaker.
He said yes.
Thank
he said
you.
yes. Order, Speaker.
Will you sit
Speaker,
down?
order.
Point of order,
Chief
Speaker.
Speaker, point of order.
Chief Whip.
Point of order.
Councillors, will you sit down?
Point of order, Speaker.
Chief Whip, your point of order.
Thank you, Speaker. I don't know what the ANC is afraid of, but they don't want to get to the motions. Mr. Speaker, the problem, we're having an issue, Mr. Speaker, the question raised was around the manifesto. And the mayor was entitled to consult that manifesto in his response. So I don't think it's appropriate for them to do that. It's not the wearing of apparel which has been banned from the chamber. Can we please get on with this issue?
I am also entitled to demonstrate that is implementing the manifesto of another party.
Thank you.
I am also entitled to demonstrate.
Councillor Novella.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Maybe we can assist you so that you can make the ruling, and you must be consistent in making the ruling. The most important thing here, Mayor, is that the other one was counterfeit, the other one is original. So you can make a ruling based on that, because that is not what the EFF have printed. We print proper quality than that one. So maybe you can make a ruling based on that, because I think we should also call JMPD to repossess, because it's counterfeit. It's not ours. It's counterfeit. You must call JMPD to come and repossess that one.
Councillors, can I make my order? Can I make my ruling on this? Thank you. No, Councillor Mukhasi. You are taking advantage and they are delaying meeting here. I want to conclude, Councillor Mukhasi. No, I want to conclude. Thank you. Councillors, I don't remember a rule that prevents us from reading any material in this chamber, which includes 1 minute, Councillor Masuku, it doesn't help you to jump up and down. I'm still busy ruling. It won't help you. There is no rule in the rule book, first of all, that speaks about material being read from a manifesto.
Speaker,
no, awukaskhone, dula fasi. No, dula fasi. Dula fasi. Dula fasi. No, I'm not finished with my ruling and you are interrupting me. Councillor Mukhasi, uka tusa caucus ya gago, please. I don't remember that rule, first of all, and I'm continuing, that on clothing, many a times, people were put out of this council chamber simply because they had not green, not blue, not yellow, but they had their party emblem based on it, which means caps, clothing, and T-shirts. And therefore, that's the rules. And we can't simply, because Councillor Matongo decided today that he wanted to really break that rule, and he knows that the rule is in front of him. He knows the rule book well. So councillors, based on that, when the issue was raised by Councillor Novella and asking for this to be referred to ethics, I agree with him that it be sent to ethics, because Councillor Matongo, you know the rules well in this council. Can we please go ahead? Mr. Mayor, please continue.
Is there a rule that
Mr. Mayor, please continue. Mr. Mayor, are you done with your... Are you done? So please rise. Mukhasi. Alika kwala mlomo, Lisa Rasi, kitla mo find chance. But as long as you are talking, Councillor Mfikwe, as long as you're talking, I'm not going to allow him to speak. You're going on. Thank you.
Speaker, thanks, Speaker, for allowing us to talk. You know, you allowed Councillor Novella to speak on the matter. And he did confirm that he saw what we said the mayor was handling in a sense. And whether it's original or fake, that's not the matter. The matter is, and you raised a question as the speaker, which was correct. Did you, Mayor, and he confirmed yes. So I would like to have a ruling from you on that matter. You must make a ruling. You haven't done a ruling. So what I'm asking, it's a ruling on the matter raised of the display. Can you make a ruling on the mayor, please?
Or if we discuss before we figure ethics, kulungin. To keep the peace in this chamber, we'll send both of them to ethics. Thanks. Mr. Mayor, please continue responding.
Speaker, on a point of order.
Fellow councillors, residents of the city of Johannesburg,
Speaker.
I need to raise this question of counterfeit. This is a very serious criminal matter that the city is facing. Our people are unemployed. We've killed our industry. And for a national government to be involved in counterfeit goods, it's a very serious criminal matter to be brought into this house.
Speaker.
And honestly and truly, I believe this is the matter that must be reported to our criminal justice system. The people behind counterfeit goods, and I want people of this country to know that the ANC is responsible, is the leader of counterfeit goods in this country.
Speaker, order.
The 10 million...
Order, Speaker. Speaker, order, Speaker.
The 10 million South Africans who are unemployed today because we killed industry, ANC has been behind it.
Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Speaker.
Can we continue, please? The next
Speaker.
Next person on the list.
You can't
Wait,
ignore
Speaker,
us.
wait.
Councillor Mhlongo.
No, Speaker, wait, Speaker. Speaker, we cannot come here and reduce us to nothing because of the mayor who stood up and said nothing. So do you think what the mayor is saying is something that is cannot even respond to question? He quickly goes to things that...
Councillor, I didn't give you an opportunity to speak. Will you sit down? Ukadula Fasi, please. Thank you. No. Councillor Matongo, will you please sit down? Waravile. Councillor Mfikwe, you can scream out of the bottom of your throat. You're not going to get me to bend to what you want to. Thank you. Can I call the next question? Councillor Nyengeza. Councillor Nyengeza. Councillor Nyengeza. Councillor Danja, please raise your question.
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings to the community at the gallery, as well as the fellow councillors in the city of Johannesburg. Speaker, can the outgoing or surviving mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Councillor Herman Mashaba, provide us with the progress with regards to the city's 84 properties that were handed over to the private sector for refurbishment and converting into low-cost housing and affordable rentals? Outgoing mayor or surviving mayor, your answer should focus mainly on the number of years of the lease agreement entered between the city and the private sector. Also, why Radiant Property Consultant, whose director is Molly Gellen, according to the CIPC records that I pulled yesterday, and a company that made a big mess at Novena Court by failing to pay the city services to the city until you visited, you mayor, the building with Buyam Teto this year. Therefore, not adding any value to the city has been again awarded another contract to develop one of the 84 inclusive development processes in Donfontein, Johannesburg, inner city, awarded through the word of Councillor Chobeka. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lanjut. As regards the 84 buildings, as you are aware, Council gave approval sometime last year, and about a month or so ago, JPC awarded 84 out of the 154 to the value of just over 20 billion rands. Yesterday was also one of those golden moments for me that 4 of them, we've already done the sorting, so the city of Johannesburg is going to become a construction site. And fortunate enough, as Council is very fully aware that all these properties, we did not really give them for nothing. We gave them on a 50-year lease. So as soon as, obviously, 50 years lapses, these properties will then come back and become the property of the city of Johannesburg. As regards the question of, is it Novena Court? This particular matter is under investigation, very, very concerning. A lease was given by the previous administration in 2010 to some consortium. We're still investigating who this consortium is.
Speaker.
They're supposed to have...
Mr. Mayor, there's a point of order. Councillor?
No, thanks very much, Speaker. The mayor is it's out of order, because the matter of Novena Court was dealt with by the leader of executive business. He needs to respond. He needs to respond on the 84
but he's
properties.
busy responding. Continue,
The leader
Mr.
of
Mayor.
executive business has responded on Novena Court.
But colleagues, I find it difficult. Why I've been asked a question by Councillor Dandra. Why? Okay, or must I disregard the questions being asked to?
Please
Or
continue,
why
Mr. Mayor.
are you? Is there anything worrying you about this particular matter?
Should I respond, Speaker?
No, please sit down. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, are you done?
Yes. No, the Speaker, I think this particular matter is important to be brought to the attention as inquired by Councillor Danjo. I owe it to him to give him the answer. Because he's the one who asked the question. So I'm not yet done. So I still really wanted to bring this to the attention of Council that this was one of the most shocking revelations. That's why I was called to this particular building. Where councillors and the people of Johannesburg, the lease was given to this particular company in 2010. They're supposed to be paying the city of Johannesburg out of the rentals 5%. Not a single cent so far the city of Johannesburg has received. Some of the properties, this property, it's in the name of the city of Johannesburg. That's a property leased, but it has come to attention that some of the properties
Mr.
have
Mayor,
actually been
there's a
sold.
point of order. Councillor Shezi. What's your point of order?
The building that he is talking about is in my ward. So I'm
what is the
calling
point
him.
of order?
He is completely out of order.
No.
And if he says there is nothing, even
what
a
is your
cent has
point
not
of
been
order?
paid, he is completely out of order.
Councillor, you're not raising a point of order. Please sit
He's
down.
misleading this chamber.
Please sit down, Councillor
So
Shezi.
at least I was going to listen if he was following.
Mr. Mayor, please finish your response.
Colleagues, I think to really make sure that people must be able to sleep, let me wait until the final report is ready and I'll bring it to council. But because unfortunately this particular properties, giving some people some sleepless nights. So therefore, let me save them for today. We've got to deal with the motions so that we can decide whether I'm a mayor or not after the what's. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Danjo. Is there a follow-up? Are you happy?
Thank you, Mayor, for the answer to my question, even though that the answer didn't suffice. However, I think I've asked why that this company in question still receive another tender under the inner city inclusive development, whereas you know that it's got the question corrupt mark in the previous contract of the inner city scheme. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
As you are aware, Councillor Danjo, I'm not responsible for awarding of the tenders. And this matter, at the time, the city did not have the knowledge. Now that we've got a knowledge, we have the fullest right as a city to take appropriate action.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Moabi. Councillor Moabi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, the residents of Johannesburg and all councillors. Mr. Mayor, 2 years ago, in 2017, this council was confronted with allegations of illegal award of 11 million rands contract to a field band foundation, an NGO. Please protect me, Speaker. Protect me.
I will, thank you.
Speaker, point of order.
Chief Whip, what's your point of order? Councillor Moabi, will you take your seat? Thank you.
Speaker, as far as I'm aware, this matter is serving before the Ethics Committee, so we cannot discuss it, please.
It was sent by this council to ethics. It is at ethics.
Who is appearing on this matter there? The mayor is appearing. Okay.
Councillor Moabi. No. No, Councillor. Let me finish first. Mfe chance. No. No, ska etsa cho. Me uka beya fast. Dankie. Can I please address you, Councillor Moabi? That this matter was taken to ethics by this council. And it is to be discussed at ethics. I've referred it myself. And you know that matters that are before any of our committees cannot be discussed again here. So can I please ask that you change your question? If there's another question that you have to ask around this issue, please do. And the Chief Whip is correct. Councillor Moabi?
Speaker.
No, I'm addressing Councillor Moabi.
Speaker. Order on you.
Councillor Moabi?
Speaker.
Okay. Councillor Nawane? Councillor Mraudzi? Councillor Mraudzi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to remind you that you are very much aware of the fact that the mayor does not want to come to ethics. He wrote a letter to the ethics committee that he is not going to come to ethics, but he will go to the integrity commissioner.
So it's not in ethics.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to allow Councillor Niemand just to respond on this issue, just to get the facts correctly. Councillor Niemand?
Speaker,
Please.
you allowed me to
Please,
speak, and I'm not going to be treated like
If it's
that.
going to ethics, we
Please.
cannot discuss it here.
No, you don't. You did not even hear what I was going to say. Because I'm just talking about the Field Band Foundation, then you prophesied that I'm going to talk about this. Listen to me, then you will rule after you have heard what I've said. Please, respect me. I'm a councillor in this chamber, and you allowed me to speak.
Councillor,
So
Councillor Moabi, please continue.
Yes. You are not going to do that to me. You are
Continue.
not going to do that to me. Yes. I'm saying 2 years ago in 2017, listen first before you answer. 2017, this council was confronted with allegations of an illegal award of an 11 million rand contract to a Field Band Foundation, an NGO where the mayor was a chairperson for around 15 years. This contract, we were told it was going to run the drug foundation, the drug rehabilitation program, all right? But a resolution was taken. I'm talking here about a resolution that was taken. A resolution was taken by this particular council that this program number 1 be suspended. That's number 1. Number 2, that an investigation must be conducted. Number 3, and finally, was that a report of the investigation, outcome of the investigation, must be tabled in this council. Are we clear? So, but at the same breath, this program was to be suspended. The 3,500 million was paid at that time. 3.5 million rand was paid, okay, to this NGO.
Point of order, Speaker.
The council up to now has not received the report, but a second chunk of 3.5 million rand.
Point of order,
paid.
Speaker.
Thank you, Chairs. There's a point of order, Councillor Moabi. Will you please sit down? Can you switch off your mic? Chairs.
Speaker, I rise on a point of order.